On your mark, get set. Let's go.
I can't do it. We'll do it live. Do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
Mister, will you please wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up?
Good morning. Kevin Durant, you should have left California.
This Brownsexual upset me in having to bring this teenage idiot from Wisconsin into a sports conversation. Are you really surprised the Cowboys are giving up on Ezekiel Elliott?
Whoa. Hell no! Well, no one cares about baseball.
Bitch, are you for real?
Oh, yeah. Time to get this. Whoops. This is how my Monday has gone so far, but it'll get better. Good morning. Welcome to the Manic Monday edition of Snowman in the Morning. Glad to have y'all with us. We are presented by BetUS.com and Invader Coffee. Well, lots to get to, lots to wrap up, and I got lots to do in front of me. So, without any further ado, here's the Whip Around presented by Fanatics. Well, it seems like my beloved 49ers will be out one of their main weapons as Deebo Samuel has suffered a hairline fracture in his shoulder, and he is scheduled to miss the next 2 games, and it may be more. So Jawan Jennings will more than likely get the start opposite Brandon Ayuk this evening in Minnesota. Steven Adams of the Grizzlies is to undergo season-ending knee surgery. All prayers are up for Steven Adams. Well, and it seems like the Grizzlies will be down. Bill Belichick finally gets his 300th regular season win as the Patriots upset the Buffalo Bills. What? Here, let me bring this up here. What is wrong with the Buffalo Bills? They've been one of the most inconsistent teams I've seen this year. They're up a couple of weeks and then they're down the next couple of weeks. Well, Buffalo, you better figure it out. Jonathan Allen of the Washington Redskins sounded off after their loss to the New York Giants. When asked by a reporter to evaluate Sunday's loss, Allen said, quote, "They whooped our ass, plain and simple, gotta be better," close quote. He was asked a follow-up question whether Washington's defeat was frustrating. The defensive tackle sounded off and says, "Blank, yes, it does. I'm blanking tired of this blank. There's a lot of blanks in there. But it's safe to say he was not happy with the Redskins' performance against the New York Football Giants. And grats to the Football Giants. Grats to the Football Giants for their win yesterday. They needed it bad. Bryan Abreu of the Astros hit Adolis Garcia, received a 2-game suspension, and has appealed it. Well, they're going to need him tonight because the Texas Rangers took all their frustrations out on the Astros last night, beating them 9-2 in Game 6, which sets up a winner-take-all Game 7 tonight in the Juice Box in Houston, Texas. Last but not least, one of my favorite players of all time, Andre Iguodala, the Springfield-Lanphier native and University of Arizona graduate, has decided to call it a career after 19 years. The 2015 Finals MVP has hung it up after this past season where the Warriors were eliminated by the Los Angeles Lakers. And I am so proud of Andre Iguodala. Later this week, I will present, excuse me, it's coffee I'm drinking. Some kind of invader coffee. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. I am kidding. I have been battling a cold for the past week. Later this week, I will present a tribute to the man they call Iggy, who became a defensive wizard. After starting most of his career, Steve Kerr pushed the one button that turned him from an all-star into a champion. That'll come later this week. And that's the Whip Around presented by Fanatics. What are your thoughts on Andre Iguodala? If you're watching via YouTube, hit the comment section and leave a comment below. And let's go to the Fanatics feedback zone while we got a couple of minutes. Sick Diggy joins us from Norway. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to you. A Pizzle 90 says good morning. And in terms of the Jonathan Allen episode, blank, blankety, blank, 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 and there's plenty more blanks in that quote. If I were to get the original quote, I'd have to do a lot of beeping to edit that. Seriously, Larry joins us with his Phillies up 3-2 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. They play Game 6 tonight in Philadelphia. And he says, good morning. Good morning to you, Larry. Appreciate you coming by for this edition of Snowman in the Morning. Well, we got a couple of things to get to when we come back from a break. The Dolphins and the Eagles. One team's a playoff contender. The other's a fraud. And speaking of frauds, I may have to apply that to the Detroit Lions. I can't believe I'm saying that aloud. But then again, I should not be surprised. This is Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson. And I was about to introduce the wrong person. Good Lord. What is wrong with me? Back in a flash.
Attention sports fans, looking for the ultimate gear and apparel to show your team pride? Look no further than Fanatics, the #1 destination for sports enthusiasts. Visit snowmanmultimediasports.com today and shop a wide selection of officially licensed merchandise from your favorite teams and players. From jerseys to hats to accessories to collectibles, Fanatics has it all. Don't miss out on the chance to elevate your game day experience. Head over to snowmanmultimediasports.com/fanatics and gear up like a true fan with Fanatics. Officially licensed everything. Are you ready to upgrade your coffee game? Prepare for an invasion of flavor with Invader Coffee. It's the caffeinated elixir that fuels champions, the blend that pushes boundaries. Whether you're battling deadlines or exploring uncharted territories, Invader Coffee has your back. Join the invasion at invadercoffee.com and taste the difference for yourself. Use the code SNOWMAN for 15% off your first order. Invader Coffee, veteran owned.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Welcome back. As Snowman in the Morning with Cole Johnson continues, we are live on the BS3 TV network as well as Zebo TV based out of Reno, Nevada and Texas respectively. And we are live on WIR DB in my hometown of Chicago, soon to be back on WLEO 26.7 in Baltimore, Maryland, couple of other stations we are looking into, as well as especially KSHP in Las Vegas, looking for a Thanksgiving week launch to be on that station in Las Vegas as we prepare for our run to Super Bowl 58 at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas, Nevada. How about those refs last night, says A. Pizzle. Forget last night. What about yesterday afternoon in Indianapolis, Indiana? How about that? And what the game that Pizzle's referring to is the Dolphins and the Eagles, as the Eagles win 31-17. Jalen Hurts, who turned the ball over twice more, was 23 of 31 for 279 yards with 2 touchdowns. He also threw a pick six in the third quarter. That's the part I caught before I had to take my daughter to work. And Pizzle, I'm depending on you to tell me who the defender was that took it to the house that tied the game at 17 and in the third quarter of last night's game. Eagles ran 19 more plays than the Dolphins, who could not take advantage of multiple opportunities to tie the game. Tyreek Hill caught 11 for 88 yards plus a touch, let a potentially game-tying touchdown go through his hands while running toward the goal line. Tua threw a costly interception in the fourth quarter, and from there, the Eagles drove down the field twice using their patented brotherly shove to put the game away and make it a 2-possession game. Dolphins were penalized 10 times for 90 yards and managed 12 first downs all game. And thank you, A. Pizzle. I knew you'd have the answer for me. Jerome Baker tied the game at 17 apiece off a deflection, and he raced into the end zone to tie the game at 17. Philadelphia wore their throwbacks last night. A.J. Brown was targeted by Jalen Hurts 15 times. He hauled in 10 passes for 137 yards and a score. Philadelphia also dominated the time of possession 36-43 to 23-17. Miami ran the ball just 12 times for 45 yards. They had more penalty yards, 95, than rushing yards, 45. And Pizzle, do you have time to come up here to talk Dolphins? Talk about that game last night? The Eagles, and I'm looking at this, and Pizzle, thank you for this note right here. There were no penalties against the Philadelphia Eagles last night. I have never watched a game, even with my beloved 49ers, where a team went the entire way without being penalized. I've never seen that before. And yet last night, what's up, Volcanus? Volcanus joining us this morning. When you score 70, everybody watches the tape and they figure stuff out. This is true. But again, I've never, ever, and I've watched football for almost 5 decades. All right? I've never seen a game where a team was not penalized at all. Have there been some? Yes. I just may not have seen them. And by the way, if you're watching via YouTube, don't forget to hit the Cash App. The tag you need is $tallman Dr. K50. It helps a cancer survivor, it helps his family, and it helps us grow this channel. And we appreciate you and thank you for all your support. Tell me how the hell the Philadelphia Eagles played at times, and I know Cool McCain's going to love me or hate me for this. Tell me how the Eagles at times played as inept as they did and still not get penalized during the game. That's crazy. I'll say it again. I know there are games where teams were not penalized. I know that. I've seen it in college. I just haven't seen it in the NFL in my 4+ decades of watching NFL football. And my dad once told me there will never be a game where a team does not get penalized. I've seen a game with no punts. Hell, I've seen a few games with no punts. I've seen a few games with no punts, and the very first one I saw that had no punts in it was the very first one in 1992. Give you a guess as to who the teams are in that game. If you're able to guess who played in that game, got a prize for you. And there's my trivia question for the day. Someone suggested that, so I'm going with it. I have never seen a game where one team is not penalized at all during the game. Now I have a question, and I know A Pizzle's answer, but I want to talk to you guys, the rest of the guys in the chat. Do you think there's some bias towards the Philadelphia Eagles to the point where they didn't get penalized at all? Or did the Eagles play that perfect of a game? Because I got to tell you, from some of the highlights that I watched this morning, save the play that I saw live last night before I had to, and Pizzle got the answer. Bills and 49ers, 1992. Pizzle, I'll work on a prize for you. I made a promise and I intend to keep it. But I've never seen that before. There's some bias towards the Chiefs, that's for sure. Yeah, we saw that in the Super Bowl. And thank you, Ryan McCoffey. I have to send you something really quick. But I've never seen that before. Do y'all think there's some bias now toward the Eagles? I've been wanting to ask that. I've been wanting to ask that today. I've been wanting to ask that today. Well, that's a discussion for throughout the week. Eagles win 31-17. Now, the sleeping giant in the AFC, we like to call the Baltimore Ravens. And the Baltimore Ravens, why don't I just say this simply? The Baltimore Ravens kicked the Detroit Lions' ass all over the field. Calvin, to answer your question, I did not watch the game in full. I only saw parts of it. And part of the reason was I had to take my daughter to work. And the Detroit Lions got bludgeoned yesterday. Your name is Lamar Jackson, and you throw for a season high 357 yards. And you blown out the team with tied for the NFL's best record. And given some of the struggles for Baltimore in recent weeks, I say they have wakened up and they're a sleeping giant no more. 38-6. They whipped the Lions' ass. And now it makes you have all kinds of questions about the Detroit Lions. And I hate making this comparison, but I've got to make it now. Do the Lions feel like the Cowboys to you after that performance to drop them to 5-2? And what I mean is this. Does it seem to you, and there are so many more tests left for the Detroit Lions this season, so many more. And I realize that. And I know I may be quite a bit premature in answering this question, but I'll go ahead and complete it. Does it seem to you that the Lions beat up on regular teams and can't play against superior teams? Because yesterday was a major test for them, and they failed on all counts, surrendering more than 500 yards of offense and scoring only 6 points. The Lions scored only 6 points yesterday. Live research coming. And the Lions defense, which is what we heralded throughout the course of the year. And oh, look, and thank you, Ryan, for this. Oh, look, the last penalty-free game in the NFL was by What do you know? The Kansas City Chiefs. Ryan, research that game and tell me who the opponent is, if you would, kind sir. So, do we call the Lions frauds at this point? I have to know. Do we call they're 5-2 coming into this week, coming week? Do we call them frauds at this point? Do we even put the label on them? Shut up, playmaker. It's Jacksonville, and the shocker, the Chiefs won 27-17. It was on November 13, 2022, last year. Well, they handed the Chiefs the lead. Every team has a letdown game. I wouldn't call them frauds just yet. No, I wouldn't either. That would be too soon. That would be too soon. Any team can have a bad day. But I was thinking about this question driving home this morning, and to get in the studio and get prepared. Y'all are right. I can't call them frauds yet. I just can't because they're ruling the division that they're in right now. Surprisingly, they had a Bears win in it. Don't ask me how. I don't know. But you can't call them frauds yet, okay? I agree with the masses. You can't call the Detroit Lions frauds because they lost once in overtime to Seattle, and then they had this clunker, and every team is due for a clunker throughout the season, unless you're the Chicago Bears and you're going to get nothing but clunkers, unless you're the Denver Broncos and you're going to get nothing but clunkers, unless you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're going to get quite a few clunkers. The Lions laid an egg, but I believe they'll bounce back too. Thank you, Victor, for that. I believe they'll bounce back. They'll bounce back too. But holy catfish, did they lay an egg yesterday? Even though the NFC North is a total toilet bowl, I agree with that. You have the AL Comedy Central and you have the NFC North Toilet Bowl. Why don't they just, I'm getting on my soapbox here. Why don't they just make it the NFC Central again? Why don't they do that? Okay. Put the Buccaneers back in the Central. You eliminate the South Division. You send the Falcons and the Saints back to the West Division. Can we just get the regular divisions back? Hawk TV is with us for the first time in a while. Good morning to you. And Ryan McCarthy says, if you're going to lay an egg, it's better to do it earlier in the season rather than later in the season when the division or a wild card spot is on the line. True. Very true. We laid an egg last week in Cleveland because that should have been a blowout win. I don't care how good people want to make the Cleveland's defense out to be. They're not that good, or else they wouldn't have surrendered 38 points yesterday. Been missing my SITM crew. Well, we missed you, brother. We missed you. But I can't call the Lions frauds. I nearly called the Ravens frauds until this ish happened. Teach me a lesson, right? Can't say they're frauds at all. Everyone is due, and I'll say it again the way I said it earlier. You can't call the Lions. Everybody has a clunker of a game, unless you're the Chicago Bears and you're tanking every season. Unless you're the Arizona Cardinals and you're tanking every season. unless you're the Dallas Cowboys and you're beginning to tank this season. Can we talk just for a little bit about how my Redskins suck? No, because that's an hour and a half waiting to happen. And besides, I'm going to have a guest to talk Redskins a little later in the week. I am not going to, while we're talking Colts, and I know we're supposed to talk about that later, and we are, I'll save it. I'll go back to a point that I made earlier in this segment. I've never seen a game live where a team was not penalized at all. I have not seen one. Chiefs pulled it off last year. Eagles pulled it off last night. And you're right. The refs gave you that game. But at the same time, the Colts left 10 points on the table. The Colts left 10 points on the table, period. Hell, if you think about it, they left 17 points on the table. But I'll get into that game later. I really and truly hope the Lions bounce back. Who are they playing the next week? The Lions really laid an egg yesterday, surrendering 500 yards. Surrendering 500 yards of offense. And they play the Raiders next Monday night. And it's in Detroit. That'll be a bounce back game where the Lions put up 500 yards and make the Raiders eat a lot of dust. Thank you, A. Pizzle. That'll be the bounce back game for the Detroit Lions. It'll get them to 6-2. It'll keep them in the lead in the division. But then they go into a bye. And then they play the San Diego Chargers after that. And the Chargers are tanking. Why are we bringing up the Cowboys? Because it's fun. And the Chargers are tanking right before our eyes. I'm sorry. The Chargers are a tank job. Okay? And not just because they got blasted once again by the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chargers haven't beaten the Chiefs since 2018. I want to say 2018 on Thursday Night Football. Right after they moved to Los Angeles. But I will never call them the Los Angeles Chargers. They're the San Diego Chargers as far as I'm concerned. They are the San Diego Chargers. Victor says, why are we bringing up the Cowboys? Because it's fun. And because I had to. You know how this operates, Victor, as well as I when it comes to the Cowboys. They beat up on lesser teams, and they get crowned when it comes to playing better teams. I think the Lions will not suffer that fate. They get to beat up on the Raiders, and then they go to San Diego, beat up on the Chargers, and then 1 week after that, and that Chargers game is a 4:05 game out in California, and then they get to host the Chicago Bears. I see 3 straight wins for the Lions. I see 3 straight wins for the Lions coming up. Because they're going to blast the Raiders. They're going to beat the hell out of the Chargers. And they're going to beat the ever-loving hell out of the Chicago Bears. Besides, who cares about the Bears anyway? The Ravens, on the other hand, they go to Arizona to blast the Cardinals. Does Dallas play the Lions on Thanksgiving? I'll let you know in a minute. No, Dallas and the Lions play on Thanksgiving. They both host games. That's a Thanksgiving tradition, Calvin. Meanwhile, for the Ravens at 5-2, they get to go to Arizona and blast the Cardinals. Then they'll do us a favor and blast the Seahawks because the Seahawks ain't got nothing coming for the Baltimore Ravens. And then the Cleveland Browns try to prove that they can keep up with the Ravens on the 12th, which they won't. Only challenge I see for the Ravens coming up is within their division when they play the Cincinnati Bengals. That's the only challenge I see for the Ravens coming up in the next 4 games. The Bears have been pretty much competitive ever since they got rid of Mr. TikTok Dancer. No. 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 And no. Matter of fact, I'll go one step further. Bay asked me a question that if Justin Fields, that fraud, throws for 250 yards, averages 3 touchdowns, would I give him the credit he deserved? Mike, come here. Give me this button. I'll answer his question the only way I know how before I go to a break. Would I give Justin Fields the credit he deserves if he averages 250 yards per game and 3 touchdowns? My answer is simple.
Hell no. To the no, no, no. Hell to the no. Hell to the no. To the no, no, no.
For you, Pizzle, in the Hell No game of the week. And they asked me to be a guest picker. I'm going to have so much fun. I got to work out the schedule, but I will work it out. A pause for a break. And when we come back, we're going to sip some coffee with Ryan McCoffey. Back after this.
Hey, Eagles fan. Join my man Cool McCain and a host of others as they break down every single game, every single week in an objective manner, and also from a fan's perspective as well. Remember, this cast feels just like you. Nobody likes you. And you don't care. Fly, Eagles, fly. Eagles Elite Podcast. Every Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on YouTube and other podcast outlets.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Pick'ems. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe, Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
I keep forgetting to push that button. Doggone it. Let's stop wasting time and let's sip some coffee. McCoffey joins us this morning. How are you, me Irish fellow?
I am having a relaxing bye week.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, now that there's no stress of having to watch the New York Jets for this week.
I won't get that break until week 9 when the 49ers are on a bye, but I expect us to be cruising by that point. They're 3-0 since the trade? Who cares? And it's 2-1. Okay, since we're talking Bears and Bitter Truth wants to throw stuff at me, I'll throw this at you. Who cares? It's the Bears, for God's sake. They're 2-5. And this is a team that a lot of people in Chicago thought would be 12-5. Man, get out of here with that. With what? I'm sorry.
You had to get out of your system. It's okay. It's in case of the Mondays. I understand.
You totally get it.
When you reach a certain point in your in life, it's just some things just gotta be said.
Listen, I'm having so much fun since Duke University Cancer Center told me that I wasn't going to even be here past age 49, and here I am at 51, still talking mess, still watching football with my beautiful wife and kids. I feel great. And my wife told me this morning, I am walking and I am breathing and I can get on any soapbox that I can. All right. I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah. You give those folks at Duke University Medical Center the double deuce and say, I'm going to live.
And I'm out.
Yeah. I'm out. I'm out of here.
I go, you won't give me a chance? Okay. IU Med Center did.
You channeled your inner Cartman from South Park and said, "Screw you guys, I'm going
home." Exactly. That's exactly what I did. So since the Jets are on a bye week, what you got for me this week?
Let's talk some CFL again.
Winnipeg has sealed the West Division.
Because
BC lost.
Yeah, because remember what I just said in the chat. It's the worst time to have your clunkers if it's divisions on the line or the playoff spot on the line. And there were 2 teams that had clunkers this past week in the CFL.
Yeah, BC
the BC Lions and Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Roughriders
out of the playoffs.
So Saskatchewan's out.
Yep.
Right?
Calgary's in.
And the Stampeders beat the hell out of the Lions. And that got them in with Saskatchewan. Wow.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I actually can't wait to listen to Rod Peterson this afternoon.
You and me
and
both.
I have a feeling. Heads are going to roll in Saskatchewan. I think Jeremy O'Day is out. I think Cricket Dickinson's out.
I think
they're both gone.
I think that whole regime needs to change.
Oh, for sure, for sure. The problem is that it's with Saskatchewan, they're community owned, so they don't have a private ownership where one person says, "Okay, they make the decisions." They have a committee of people. Same with Edmonton. Same with Winnipeg.
Yeah,
they're the only 3 teams in the league who are community owned, and the problem with that is you have a committee of people who are with one president who are have this final say in things. But I have a feeling Black Monday's coming for O'Day and for Dickinson. They're gonna do some soul searching, and they lost their last 7 games. That's ridiculous.
And they were in the picture earlier in the season. By the time July turned into August, we were looking at Saskatchewan being a possible playoff contender, and then the bottom fell out.
Yeah,
and then the bottom fell out. As you mentioned, they lost 7 straight. The first thing on the field they need to solve, they need to get a damn quarterback.
They had a quarterback. They had Trevor Harris, and they broke his leg in the first game against Calgary.
Oh,
that's what happened to him, and they had to rely on Dolagala and what's the other quarterback's name? Mason Fine. For the season. The Mason Fine got hurt, and Dolagala was a starter for the rest of the season. So inconsistency on offense. Their offensive line is not great. They got to fix both sides of the line. Actually, they got to fix the offensive line, and they got to get some talent on receivers because
they have no one. They have no one to throw to.
Absolutely
no one to throw to.
MLS is a good receiver. They have that other kid, Bain, who was I think he led the league in receiving yards this year. But the quarterback's got no time to throw. You're not going to move the ball.
3 teams in the West Division. They are Winnipeg, who clinched the division. BC and Calgary get in. Toronto's clinched the East. I mean, hell, they did that a month ago.
Yeah, they did that 2 months.
They did that 2 months ago, and I hope to have Mike Hogan, the voice of the champion Argos, on my program one more time. Montreal and Hamilton get in. Hamilton at 8.
Watch out for Hamilton.
I say the same.
For Hamilton.
I say the same because
it's a hot hand right now.
It seems like the second half of the year, the Tiger Cats have gotten their act together. It seems like second half of the year they've gotten their act together. Don't let the record fool you at 8 and 9. Do not let it fool you.
And Bo Levi's back. Levi's back at the quarterback position. He's a proven winner.
And then there's Tim White.
Yep.
Just
former New York Jet Tim White. It's amazing how a lot of
Tim White is hauling in these one-handed catches.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Tim White is hauling in these catches that will make Jerry Rice proud.
Mm-hmm.
Matter of fact, let me use another Canadian receiving legend. Tim White is hauling in catches that will make Milt Stegall proud.
Oh, Milt Stegall. Well, of course. I mean, I sometimes I catch the pregame or the halftime of those games. I love Milt Stegall. He's good. He's a great analyst. Same with Doug. Same with Matt Dunnigan. Same with David Sanchez. You'll catch Coach Barker on Fridays on Rod Peterson's show.
Yeah,
he's an awesome guest. I love when Coach Barker.
I love Rod and his guests.
Yeah,
and someone asked me before I came on air, how I met Rod. I was in North Carolina and I was at work and I had a break and I just happened to catch his show and I love the guy. So when we got home that afternoon, I reached out to him and I said, "Can I have you for an interview?" Been friends since 3 years now. 3 years now. And Rod's a great personality. He's a great person. Yeah. Love talking to him. Love having him on the show. Hope to get him back on soon. Producer Clark, same thing. Love those guys.
Yeah.
But do heads need to roll in Ottawa after a 4-13? Well, what is a 4-13 season right now?
I think this year was just all about injuries because they stayed in games. They just couldn't lock in the victory. They had that miracle comeback against Winnipeg in July. That was a fun game, but when you have a rookie out there who's been carrying your team at quarterback for the entirety of the season, and you had your premier signing from last season, Masoli, going out with another injury one more time, he tore on a non-contact injury too, tore his Achilles on the turf. It's like, what if
I was waiting to see what Masoli can do?
If he didn't have bad luck, he'd have no luck at all.
None. Absolutely no luck, man. And I feel so bad for Masoli because I wanted to tune into that game and see what he can do. Thank you, CFL Plus. I wanted to tune in and see what Masoli can do. And then I saw the play where it happened, and I instantly knew he tore his ACL. I instantly knew it.
No, it wasn't his ACL. It was his Achilles.
It was his Achilles. Thank you. Not his
ACL was last year.
Yeah, ACL was last year. He tore his Achilles this year. And I knew it was his Achilles because I saw it happen to my wife. I saw it happen to my wife. She had a very horribly pronounced limp. And then when we got the exam, it was everything she had feared at the time that she tore her Achilles. Thank God that she's gotten better. But I feel for Masoli. Worked so hard to get back from one injury, only to have another one. Yep. Is this it? Would this be it for him?
I really hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not. He's a good quarterback. I like seeing him. I love seeing him play. He almost brought the Tiger Cats no, that was St. Evans. Sorry. Or was it Jeremiah Russell? Hold on. Real time research. I was thinking about the 2021 Grey Cup. I think he was in the Grey Cup.
I think it was Masoli.
Yeah, because it
was Masoli.
Yep. Because I think he came in for Dane Evans when Dane Evans got hurt.
Evans got hurt. Masoli came in, and were it not for a pick in overtime. Were it not for a pick in overtime, because I watched that one all the way through, then the Tiger Cats would have staged the miracle of all miracles, because they were in the first overtime period when the interception happened.
Yeah, that was a strange game period, because he had the wind coming in from one side of the field was coming in at like 20, 30 miles an hour.
23 miles an hour. Yep.
Punts were impossible. Any team that had the wind with them wound up scoring.
Easy.
Whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. Easy. Because you can throw the ball pretty well.
And if you notice during that game, they didn't just throw the ball when they had the wind. They threw it down the field. They were getting chunk plays down the field when they had the wind. When they were against the wind, what do you think they did? They ran the football.
That's all they can do. Run the football.
They ran the football. Punting was impossible.
Yeah,
and that
was a chore.
That was at the Hammer, wasn't it?
Yep.
That was at the Hammer.
And this year's at the Hammer too.
And this year's at the Hammer.
And I think next year's in BC.
Next year's at BC Place, and I'll be damned if I don't take you and my family and a couple of others up to BC, and we don't see that sumbitch in person.
Yeah, I was hoping to be there. I was hoping to be there this year. I'm only about a 6 or 7 hour drive to Hamilton, but unfortunately, I couldn't get the time off from work to do that. But
understood.
Hopefully, I can save some change. Well, I got some sports trips planned for next year. Yeah,
same. I got my stadium tour. I'm working on my stadium tour.
Yep, I would love to go to the Grey Cup in BC. There's actually an event happening in March in Las Vegas.
Really?
The National Rugby League is going to be opening in America for the first time ever. They had 2 games at Allegiant Stadium.
Oh, they're going to play Allegiant? Sweet.
Yeah, they're going to play Allegiant. Yeah.
They're going to play Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah. I'm going to save some pennies, maybe get a media pass and take some photos or interview some players for the podcast.
Speaking of Allegiant, there is a chance that we will be in Vegas the week of the Super Bowl. Because there is a station that wants my show that I'm working with, KSHP in Vegas. And the fellow in charge there wants my show on his network so bad. He's working on getting local sponsors out there. We're working on getting national sponsors. It's just the first month where I have to fit the bill. And I told him, let me get things together here so I can pay for the airtime, and he'll pay for the rest of the airtime. And God willing, the first stadium I knock off on my stadium tour will be Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. And yes, I am calling everybody when we get there, when Jody and I get there, because this is a team trip. Yeah. I am not even messing around here, because I told Jody, be ready in February. And she says, for what? And I said, SB 58. And I walked away, and she comes flying in the kitchen and spins me around and goes, what? I said, it's in motion. And I said, it's in motion. It's in motion. She says, well, you better let me know when it is so I can save up the time from work. I'm like, baby, I'm a step ahead of you. Because I already told the folks at Elders Journey where I work, don't expect me the week of the Super Bowl. And one of the ladies in charge said, you're not doing what I think you're doing. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, I am.
Well, she already knew, because I told her what I do. And she gave me this look, and she was kidding around. She says, you're not doing what I think you're going to be. Oh, hell yeah, I am.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, I'm planning on it. And they were so nice and said, well, just keep us posted, and we'll be sure not to schedule you that week. I'm like, you ain't scheduling me that week. I'm making sure of that. because I'm getting all the pieces in place now so that when second week in February and the teams are determined, as the late great George Carlin said, get on the plane, get on the plane. F you, we're getting in the plane. Ryan McCoffey joining us here. You know who I feel bad for in the CFL? The Edmonton Eskimos. Because they finally figured out how to win games. So it doesn't cost their team.
You know, I was rooting for them to actually sneak up and grab the last playoff spot in the West.
I was hoping they would, man.
Oh, that would have been that would have been such a great story. Start 0-9 and then make the playoffs.
And then make the playoffs.
Man.
Well, and then which would have made their signing of Geno Lewis worth something. It still is. Yeah. And they should have started Trey Ford at the top of the season.
Yeah.
You start Trey Ford, you're sitting in the playoff spot right now.
That's what did them in this season. Chris Jones not figuring out his quarterback situation earlier. He was going back and forth between Trey Ford and Taylor Cornelius. And he just couldn't decide. Neither of them played well enough to decide who's going to be the full-time starter. Well, then all of a sudden, Trey Ford comes along and starts balling out, and he becomes a full-time starter. So hopefully next season, this figures out the quarterback situation starting for next season. I think they can get the ball rolling immediately and start stacking some wins.
This will give him a head start for next year. Why is that Jefe in the house? Good morning to you, my brother. Great to have you with us. The Deacon of Defense himself is joining us. Big-time Vikings fan. I plan to have him on to talk some Vikings real soon. Speaking of which, tonight, the 49ers and the Vikings go at it from U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm going to try to do that game, but as I said, it depends on timing, and it depends on what time I have to leave to take Sally to work because she works nights, which eliminates a lot of night games between Sunday and Thursday, which is fine by me, because what I can do, and I figured this out, what I can do NBA-wise is do all the late games because I'll be coming in, right when they start, and I can pick it up in progress, and they're on until like 1:30 in the morning, pending overtimes anyway. So I can pick up all the late games, which means I'm going to be doing a lot of Golden State Warriors games, and I'm planning that schedule out. And I want to give a shout to my good buddy Bill Schoenig. Oh, what the hell am I talking about? My dear friend Bill Schoenig, longtime voice of the Spurs in his 23rd season. I'll have a chance to work 3 games with him.
Hey, all right.
As is the statistician. One in Indiana, one in Chicago, and the third one's a surprise. So I'll let y'all know where I'll be for that one. So the third one's coming in January. So I'll let you know.
We got to do an alternative play-by-play call for hockey this year.
You're on.
Right on.
I would love.
Gotta sharpen my skills.
I gotta sharpen mine too. It would be my honor to call a hockey game with you.
Absolutely. Yeah, we gotta work out
my honor.
We also gotta work out the Grey Cup and the East and West Final on November 11th.
Because they're on Saturday this year.
They're on Saturdays this year, yeah.
East and West, which is perfect because Sonya doesn't work, so we can plan that. And I think it's the afternoon, early evening setup.
3 o'clock, 6:30.
3 and 6:30. That's perfect. That's perfect. So we can do both of those and then plan for the Grey Cup. I watched the Grey Cup last year, which was in Saskatchewan. So, Rod went all out. Rod and the crew went all out. Clark Monroe
yes and no, in that Rod was at the parties, but he wasn't actually at the game, I guess. I don't know. If I remember correctly, I think he might have been in Florida, or he might have been on his way back to Florida at that point.
Well, this is Rod Peterson we're talking about. He can do anything.
Hey, that's right.
This is Rod Peterson we're talking about. He can do it. He can do any and everything. I mean, Rod was the one I announced to when we were moving to North Carolina. I announced it on his show.
Yeah. That's how we got connected.
Yeah, that's exactly how we got connected. You and I would always be in the comments section, and then we got connected, and lo and behold, you get coffee with McCarthy. And I have to tell this story for Jody because she doesn't know how I came up with McCoffee. I flipped one morning. I had worked all night on my website, which I'm probably going to wind up doing tonight, making sure everything is updated. I worked on my website all night long, and I didn't have the set. I didn't have the set up, and her alarm goes off, and she comes in. She gives me a shoulder rub, and she says, "You kick ass today, but as soon as you're done, you go to bed." Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was a Monday when I said it. That Monday morning, you were in the comments section lurking around, offering your thoughts like you always do, and I love when you're there. And I had a cup of coffee here next to me. I took a sip, and then I brought up one of your comments, and the next thing that flew out of my mouth was Ryan McCoffee.
Bingo.
And I said, "What?" I sat here laughing during each break that I took.
Yeah, and I was like, "I'll take it."
And you know the greatest thing about that nickname? It's stuck.
It's stuck. No matter who, no matter. Yeah, Wise says it. Cool says it. You say it.
It's stuck. It was a
Nicola says it.
Freudian. It was a Freudian slip because I worked all night.
See, sometimes being overtired does good things.
Yes. And you know the crazy part? I went and got more coffee that morning.
Yeah. Did you go to sleep? No.
Sleep was overrated that day. But I will say this. When I crashed, I fell completely out to the point where I woke up, I saw Jody off to work, and the next thing I knew, it was 10:40. Mm-hmm. I was scrambling to get in here. But that was a total Freudian slip, and it stuck.
Yeah.
And it stuck.
Well, I gotta run.
All right, my friend.
Couple things. No corrections required. Back on its regular time tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
We'll be back. Then the following week will be on November 1st because Halloween is on is a Tuesday this year. So we're gonna. So Dustin and I made the executive decision to have our show on Wednesday instead of Thursday next week. But we return to Tuesday nights on the regular, unless I'm hosting trivia somewhere. Also, I'd like to make an appeal to the Snowman audience. My co-host Dustin is doing he does this event. He's done this event for 6 years in a row. It's called Extra Life. Mm-hmm. And what you do is that it's a fundraiser for a local charity. So the charity of his choice is the Duker Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center, where they help out with kids who have childhood cancer. Mm-hmm. And last year he raised $1,000. He's looking to raise $1,100 this year. He's going to be going live on his Twitch channel, which is Eldusto67 on November 4th, playing video games for 24 hours straight to do a fundraiser for this charity. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in the chat the link where you can donate. He's at $200 right now. His goal is $1,100. I'm going to be sending some money his way. If you're being led to donate, please donate. It's a great cause, and Dustin's doing a cool thing, playing video games for 24 straight hours and raising some money for a worthwhile cause. So I'll put the link in the chats, and that way you can donate and give him a shout when you donate. So I would appreciate it. He would appreciate it.
We would definitely take a look, and Dustin, old Snowman, will be popping in, and I'll make a donation myself, which gives me an idea on how I can help fund this stadium tour. My wife got some T-shirts that I will be premiering here. I will get her permission. She's the financial officer, and she's the one that came up with the idea. I'll premiere them here. I'll give one away as a prize, and then we'll either auction off the rest or we'll sell the rest. but we're gonna do something here. Thank you, Mr. McCoffey. Love you, brother, so much, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
All right, talk to you next Monday.
This moment of bronze sexual stupidity is brought to you by Hooked on Bronix. When you start talking like an idiotic bronze sexual, Hooked on Bronix can set you right. Call 1-800-YO-KANG. Real LJPM, now approve all this.
Emmett Victor, quit pushing buttons. Hour 2 after this.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
If you talk and they will hear you.
We all want our kids to grow up safe and healthy, so we show them how. And we tell them with honest conversations that let them know what we expect. Not just one time, but every chance we get. That's especially important when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. Kids not only need to know the dangers and how to avoid them, they need to hear it often from you. And when it comes to pain medications, opioids, they need to know that they should never be taken without a prescription and never shared with friends or family. It's dangerous and illegal. So talk with your kids and guide them through the challenges of growing up safe and healthy. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
So talk, they hear you. You can do it if you try.
He was only 58 years old when he passed away. That outcome could have been different.
Colorado happens to be one of the worst states for radon levels.
It's in our ground, and it seeps up.
The more you breathe radon, the more chance you have of DNA being hit and the cell mutated. The EPA estimates 22,000 lung cancer deaths a year caused by radon.
We all make choices. When it comes to alcohol, kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad.
Bye-bye.
Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Have fun. Hey, have a seat for a second. Remind me about that party again?
Alex is just
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations when it comes to alcohol and other drugs. They want guidance and honest answers to their questions. And it makes a difference when the message is consistent and part of everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path. Because when you talk, they hear you. For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
Sorry. Hour 2 is here. Snowman here with you. Cole Johnson will be along in just a moment. Jay Spivey will join at the bottom of this hour with no Panther news. What? No, I'm kidding. There'll be some Panther news. Trust me, there'll be some Panther news. 11:06 is your time, 6 minutes after the hour. And damn it, we're going to a game 7 in the 8. I did this wrong. I did this all wrong. Adolis Garcia hits a slam in the 9th inning to highlight a 5-run 9th inning The Rangers beat the Astros 9-2 in Game 6, which means we are going to a
Game 7.
Let me try that again. Game 7 of the, excuse me, I keep doing it wrong. Adolis Garcia made sure that this all Texas ALCS is going to a
Game 7.
And the Rangers have named their starter. It is Max Scherzer. Nathan Eovaldi got the win in Game 6. As mentioned, a 5-run ninth put the game out of reach. And Mad Max will start Game 7 for the Texas Rangers tonight. Here I go doing live research again. And the Astros got exactly what they deserve for leaving the bases loaded in the 8th inning. Rob Carlton says, let's go Eagles. Eagles did win last night. That final was 31-17. The Astros got exactly what they deserve for leaving runners on the bases. That's been their problem. 8:03 is the start time tonight. And your pitching matchup is Max Scherzer against Christian Javier. Scherzer 0-1 with an 11.25 ERA and 4 strikeouts. Christian Javier 2-0 with a 1.69 ERA. Battle of righties. And I really need the Astros to win this. I've never seen anything like it either. This is what Cole talked about Friday. This is 2019 all over again. I've never seen the Rangers so consistently inconsistent in their home stadium. They were only one game above 500 at the Juice Box, a.k.a. Minute Maid Park. They were they're I cannot understand why. You just need to get one. I mean, you won all 3 in Arlington, and quite convincingly, I might add. They won all 3 in Arlington very convincingly. Excuse me. Why the hell can't they win one at home? I mean, hell, you won the first 2 against the Minnesota Twins at home. I've never seen anything like this. Well, I can't say I've never seen anything like it because, hello, 2019 World Series. The visiting team won all 7 games. And guess who started Game 7 for the Washington Nationals of the 2019 World Series? The same guy that's starting tonight, Max freaking Scherzer. Now, the bad news is it's a 7th game for the Houston Astros. The worst news is it's in the jukebox. It's in the juice box. Excuse me, I gotta take a drink. Jukebox. I said jukebox instead of juice box. Jeez Louise. The good news is we kicked the hell out of Max Scherzer in Arlington. I believe this offense can kick the hell out of him again. But I would not be surprised if one of 2 things happen. One, if this game, because it's all come down to this, is razor thin. That's part 1. And part 2, that the Rangers win it. Because for some reason, they're world beaters on the road also, just like the Astros are. And it took the Astros winning on the road to seal the West Division. And if that's as good as it gets for the Astros this year, this season has been a colossal failure because they're the defending world champions and they still have a chance to defend their title, but they must win tonight. This is it. There are no more tomorrows after this. There are no more let's go home and get resituated. There are no more of those. No more. 8:03 is your start time tonight. Meanwhile, earlier at 5:03, And I might just have to do this one with my buddy JJ. It's game 6 of the National League Championship Series. The Phillies lead that series 3-2. They come back to Philadelphia with a chance to put this game away, to put this series away. It is Aaron Nola on the hill for the Philadelphia Phillies. He'll be opposed by Merrill Kelly, a couple of right-handers. Aaron Nola is 3-0 in the postseason with an 0.96 ERA. Merrill Kelly is 1-1 with an even 3 ERA. If you're the Philadelphia Phillies, just like the Astros last night, you need to win game 6 tonight, because you don't want to give any kind of confidence whatsoever. None to an Arizona Diamondback team that, if you look at it from the outside, has no business being in the National League Championship Series, even given the fact that they kicked the Dodgers' ass. All right, even given the fact that they beat the hell out of the perennial National League champion Los Angeles Dodgers, and yet each year the Dodgers fail miserably. More on that later. If you're the Philadelphia Phillies and you want to get back to the World Series and you want to finish the unfinished business, you need to kick Arizona's ass tonight. Do not allow them any confidence for a game 7 on your home turf in Philadelphia. You can't give them any confidence. You can't give them any confidence at all. You can't. You just can't do it. Because a team like Arizona is the team that no one saw coming. No one. The Arizona Diamondbacks are the team that no one saw coming. All right? And if you're the Philadelphia Phillies, Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber has got to get you started on the right swing immediately. Zach Wheeler said Saturday, I think we'll be in a good position, but we can't think ahead too much. We have to play the game on Monday and get back to Philly where we like to play. I will close quote. I will tell you again, the series where I thought the Phillies turned on the light. It was a 4-game series against the Anaheim Angels, and they took 3 out of 4 in that series. I did the final 2 games of that series for sitting in for JJ. And boy, they turned all the lights on. Because in the first game that I did, the Phillies were trailing 4-2. They come to bat in the bottom of the 6th inning, and then Alec Bohm unloaded one. Gave the Phillies the lead 5-4. They wound up winning that game 7-5. And after that game, they were off to the races. After that game, they were off to the races. And for the second time, going back to the ALCS briefly, for the second time, Framber Valdez got beat up. He was dealing until he allowed that 3-run homer in the 6th inning. A 2-run homer in the 6th inning because it was a tie game at 1. Framber Valdez allowed 2 home runs in that game. 2. And then the slam by Garcia in the 9th inning to put the game away. To put the game away. So you got a winner take all tonight. And here I go missing buttons again. I missed the cue. So you got a winner take all tonight in the ALCS in a
Game 7.
I hate you, Cole, for that, but I love you at the same time. And then you have a team in Philadelphia that has caught fire once again. Put Arizona out of their misery tonight. Because if you allow them to reach a
Game 7.
Who the hell knows what's going to happen in Philadelphia? So you need to put them away tonight. A pause, and when we come back, the Indianapolis Colts got screwed, but then they screwed themselves at the same time. Back after this.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. You kids from the block. New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck. Matt Damon. Go yourself again. Jason Whitlock.
Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the Four Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube. Poppy J.
You got the option to cry for the government. You got the option to protest. You got the option to keep buying. But this is also an option.
Wise El Jefe.
We're the first tech geeks. We're the first gamers. We're the first everything. Everything. Like Gen X's, we are the ones.
BS3 Network proudly presents the crew from the New York boroughs who never wants that smoke. Nah, they want that fire. Poppy J and Wise El Jefe. Fridays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Check your local listings for your viewing and listening pleasure.
Mister? How do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
You wonder why I have this despondent look on my face. Welcome back to those of you listening and watching Snowman in the morning on YouTube, on Zebo TV, BS3 TV, and listening live via Snowman Multimedia Sports Radio. 20 after the hour. Jay Spivey along in 15 minutes. And I want to get to the game that happened in Indianapolis, Indiana. There were two culprits in that game yesterday. Gardner Minshew and the referees. Minshew, you're first. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me do this. Gardner Minshew, sit down. And I still wasn't ready. I'm sorry about that. I'll try again. Gardner Minshew, sit down. Mr. Minshew, I have a question for your performance yesterday against the Elves. What the was that? 4 turnovers yesterday by Gardner Minshew. 2 fumbles, including one that was recovered for a touchdown, and 2 interceptions. Yeah, he threw for 305 yards, but those 4 turnovers all got converted into points. And yet, Gardner Minshew put the Colts in a position to win the game because he threw what should have been what should have been the game-winning touchdown. The Colts, even despite everything that went on, played their asses off. Jonathan Taylor, 120 all-purpose yards. 120 all-purpose yards for Jonathan Taylor. Zach Moss doing great at the running back position. And the referees decided the game. There were 2 penalties that cost the Colts yesterday, and neither one of them should have been called. The first one, an illegal contact penalty. That was drawn by Amari Cooper. Darrell Baker, unfortunately, who was in the game because rookie Juju Brents was out with a quad injury. Darrell Baker, and I'm placing no blame on him, got zapped with an illegal contact penalty that should not have been called, because on that play, EJ Speed stripped PJ Walker clean and DeForest Buckner fell on the ball. That was game, set, match. That was game, set, match. That was game, set, match. And they called an illegal contact penalty when Amari Cooper shoved Baker down. He shoved him down. Go look at the play. But the one that got me the most, the one that pissed me off the most, was the penalty of pass interference on a pass that was clearly uncatchable. And that pass was intended for Donovan Peoples-Jones. That ball was 10 yards over his damn head. And yet, they want to call illegal. No, they want to call defensive pass interference on a pass that PJ Walker threw, which we all saw, whoever watched the game, was uncatchable. Yes, I was caring for my wife yesterday, but doggone it, she even screamed at the top of her lungs. That was the only time she woke up all afternoon, was to see that play. She looked at me and I her, and she said, "Was that pass interference?" And I said, "No." All right, Bay, you're not going to like me for this opinion, but it is an opinion, and I believe I'm entitled to it. The Colts got royally screwed. You can have a team play a bad game with 4 turnovers and yet still be in a position to win. And to have the referees take the game away from the Colts is totally unfair. Because I'll say it again, despite 4 turnovers, the Colts played their ass off and scored the most points that this Browns defense, which is otherworldly right now, scored the most points that they have given up all season, backing up the 17 that San Francisco scored on them last week. And yet a pass interference allowed Cleveland 4 more downs that should not have happened. So I'm frying the referees today. because they totally screwed the Colts. This is the only game where I will say it, but I'm being fair in my assessment. The Colts got screwed royally. They left points on the field. True. Not denying that. Blocked field goal by Myles Garrett, otherworldly defensive end. Hello. They turned the ball over 4 times. All 4 turnovers turned into points. And yet they were still in a position to win. And being in that position, the referees took it away on 2 of the most unfair penalties I have seen ever. Ever. Tell me how the hell was that illegal contact against Donovan Baker on Amari Cooper? Tell me how the hell was that pass interference on the pass intended for Donovan Peoples-Jones when the ball clearly was over his head? Tell me how the hell was that? Tell me how the hell was that pass interference? Tell me how the hell was that illegal contact, man? All I'm saying is be fair. And the referees were not fair in the final 10 minutes yesterday. Hell, they were unfair in the final minute. They were unfair on that final drive. Because if you look at the play, Amari Cooper shoved Baker down. That should have been OPI, offensive pass interference, for those of you scoring at home, on Amari Cooper. But the one that'll get me the most was that strip sack by EJ Speed and recovery by DeForest Buckner. I blanked for a moment. That should have been ball game. We talked about it earlier about how a team can have so many clunkers and yet still be in a position to win. We talked about it earlier today. That was the case of the Colts yesterday. That was the case of the Indianapolis Colts yesterday. They turned the ball over 4 times. All 4 turnovers were converted to points. And yet, they were right there to win the game. They were right there. Minshew threw a 75-yard touchdown pass to, I believe, Michael Pittman. Pizzle, help me out on that, please. And yet, they were not. They were not allowed to have a fair chance to win the game. Gardner Minshew cost the Colts the game, but he put them in a position to win the game. So it was an up and down kind of day for Gardner Minshew. And I knew it would be that kind of game when the first 3rd down conversion of the game, Jerome Ford races 69 yards for a touchdown, and that got the scoring started. Minshew was sacked 4 times. He threw 2 touchdowns. He threw an interception. He fumbled the ball twice and was sacked 4 times. 2 of those were strip sacks. Once again, the referees strike. Once again, and it was Michael Pitt. It was Michael Pittman. I beg you. Thank you. It was Michael Pittman. This is all. That was with 5:38 remaining in the game. 5:38 remaining in the game. And Spiro Adidas, kudos on the call. Oh, that makes me growl. So instead of being 4-3, which is what should be the record, the Colts now sit at 3-4, looking on the outside, looking in as far as the playoffs go. It's going to take one of those runs they had in 2018 where they ran the table the rest of the year to get into the playoffs in the first place. Damn it. Those referees need to be investigated. That crew needs to be investigated because they clearly took the game away from the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the Colts left points on the table, not denying that. Yes, the Colts turned the ball over 4 times, not denying that. And JJ, I love you. I will catch your broadcast tonight, and you may have to save a microphone for me to join you for a little bit. But the referees screwed the Colts out of that win yesterday. I changed my hot seat. Gardner Minshew, you're off the hook. To the referees, you're not. Now get the hell out of my face. Spivey notes when y'all get back.
Everything Boston. I love you morons. New Kids on the Block, New Edition.
Dear whatever the law firm is. Sincerely, the U.S. Supreme Court.
Ben Affleck, Matt Damon. Go yourself again, Jason Whitlock.
Join the transporter to Hades.
Your butt and gut becomes one.
Join the reformer of hooker whores.
This is my daughter, Placenta Booty Johnson.
Join the bronze god.
Whenever you are in distress, take off your baseball cap and throw it in the air.
Join your very own superhero of broadcasting, Chris Bass.
So whatever color crayon they get, they palm it and do 2 circles, and that translates to I can beat up black people.
As he takes you through the week's paces in Baseline. Live every Saturday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Central, Pacific time zone people, just stay asleep when this is on live and just catch the recording. Exclusively on the Chris Bass YouTube channel. Ready to hang with some fellas who know football? Let's ride. LC Muscles 28.
I think they're the most overrated defense in the league.
Steel Sermon.
We did not trail for a single second.
Tiny Tim.
McCarthy is a bonehead.
A Pizzle 90.
I'm going with my boys. Fins up, baby.
Get ready for the 4 Horsemen of Peckham's. Every Wednesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central on YouTube.
Mister, how do you operate this Twitter thing or this Instagram thing or whatever the heck? You're supposed to know all this stuff. Anyway, welcome back to the show.
36 after the hour, and my good friend is here. My dear friend is here. What is PI now? What is pass interference? I'd love to know what that is, because after what I saw yesterday, the atrocious PI call against the Colts, I don't know anymore. Here's Jay. Jay Spivey now joins us on the Invader Coffee guest line. Good morning, Jay. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
Doing well. Happy to be here.
Man, what the hell was that? What the hell was that PI call yesterday in Indianapolis?
Well, you look at all levels of football. I don't know that there is a definition of what interference is anymore because let's face it, all the rules are geared toward the offense anyway. So they're going to throw flags left or right. I mean, I go to college games regularly. I went to one Saturday. It gets to the point where every pass you look for a flag, no matter how far apart they are defensively and offensively anyway.
Because I can't believe what I saw yesterday in Indianapolis. And as I said, I was caring for Jody. She felt ill, which is why she couldn't join me on the live stream yesterday. She woke up, saw that play, turned to me, looked at me and asked, was that PI? And I said, no. I asked about 100 people yesterday. They said no. There's no definition of what PI is, man.
There isn't. And you hear all the so-called experts, whether they be announcers or the referees that are on there that act like they're experts. They don't have a clue either.
They really don't. And what I saw yesterday in that game was not PI. The ball was uncatchable. The defender turned to look and see where the pass is. But that's not the penalty that gets me. The one that got me yesterday in that game, EJ Speed cleanly stripped PJ Walker, who shouldn't even be in the league in the first place.
I was about ready to say the same thing. You beat me to it.
There's no reason for PJ Walker to be in the league, and yet he's in the league. Got stripped clean by EJ Speed. DeForest Buckner recovers. Game, set, match. Right? Wrong. Where was this illegal contact when Amari Cooper pushed off?
There's not. I mean, again, you just look for a flag every single time the ball's thrown.
Mm-hmm.
Every single time. And there's no rhyme or reason for the flags either. I mean, sometimes it can be egregious and they won't call it. What gets me, and this is for every sport, this gets on my nerves about every sport. They'll say you can't make a call at the end of a game. Well, there's nowhere in any rule book that says that. Any rule book.
I laugh because I share your pain and it's true. It's true. Who the hell said you have to make a call at the end of the game? If it's not a call, don't make the damn thing.
Or vice versa. If it's egregious, I don't care how much. If it's 1 second to go in the game, and if he catches the ball, it's the winning score.
Mm-hmm.
Make the call. That's what you're there to do as a referee.
And it was supposed to be, and Cole's in the audience, it's supposed illegal contact, and the flag was so late. It came well after
all the time because these receivers beg for it all the time. And they end up getting it.
But I'll say it again. Amari Cooper pushed off against Donovan Baker. Did I see that incorrectly? Because Baker went down and chasing Cooper into the end zone, which is where PJ Walker was going. He looked his receiver down. He stared him down. And then that happened.
And what does that tell you about? You were just talking about PJ Walker. What does this tell you about where Deshaun Watson is within the hierarchy of the Browns right now? Where nobody seems to understand why he was really taken out of the game yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they paid him all this money and they're tied to him for years. But yet he basically got benched yesterday.
They are tied to him for the next 5 years, and yet they yanked him for
PJ freaking Walker, who cannot play at all.
You know, Pete. Let's go all the way there. What the hell is PJ Walker doing on a roster in the first place?
Well, it goes to the dearth of quarterback play in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Because the worst coach position, as you say very well, and it's so true, is quarterback. It's the worst coach position, no matter what the level it is.
Oh, no matter what close. No,
And then
what does it tell you about a Division II quarterback who thoroughly outplayed Justin Fields yesterday for the Bears?
Oh my God!
And I'm telling you, Justin Fields is in trouble with the Bears because with all their number one picks coming up and all the great quarterbacks in this draft,
Justin Fields
he's probably
is
not going to be
sent,
playing for the Bears next year.
Yep, he's going to be sent packing. He's going to wind up going in a package deal to another team that doesn't have a great offensive line. Okay, and he'll suffer the same fate wherever he goes. Justin Fields' days as a Chicago Bear, and I know you believe this with me because we talked about it many times before, Justin Fields' days with the Bears are numbered.
Very much so. And you can tell that yesterday because even if he is healthy this week against the Chargers, which, by the way, why is that on NBC Sunday night?
Oh, dear God.
That's the Sunday night game this week.
I'll be asleep before I have to take my daughter to work.
How bad can you get?
Well, you know, if they allowed folks like you, I, Cole, and Victor to make the schedule, we'd make it too much like right, and that would piss off a lot of people.
Well, they can make it. They have the ability to flex out of that sorry game.
You know, they're not, because apparently people are messaging me saying, how about the fact that Justin Fields is going to play Sunday night? Who the hell cares? He can't play quarterback.
Why would he play after the way that the kid played yesterday?
Who are we talking about?
The Bears.
I rest my case.
There's no reason Fields should play next week.
I rest my case. I rest my case. Justin Fields should not play quarterback for the Bears ever again. Period.
And they're playing against the absolute head coachless Chargers, who makes just dumb decision after dumb decision after dumb decision, and he is still the head coach.
He's still the head coach of the Chargers. How? How the heck is that possible when 2 years ago, all he had to do was kneel down on the football, and not only do the Chargers get a playoff spot, but so do the Raiders.
Well, I saw somebody post yesterday. You know, how come people don't put down Justin Herbert like they do Lamar Jackson? Justin Herbert is not the Chargers' problem.
Justin Herbert has never been the Chargers' problem. It's the fellow who is the head coach that's the big problem.
They have so much talent on that team. They're just letting it go all to waste because they refuse to fire him.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Pittsburgh Steelers, they refuse to fire coaches.
Yeah.
Find the lie. They refuse. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the San Diego Chargers, and yes, I said San Diego Chargers, they refuse to fire coaches. Okay? After they moved from San Diego to Los Angeles, which is the dumbest move I've ever seen, you can basically look. I know I've said this before, but I'll say it again. Let me be in charge of the Chargers. I'd pack everything up. First of all, I'd make some phone calls to whomever will listen in San Diego. Where can you put a stadium for me? I'll play. I'll rent the darn thing. Where can we play?
Well, you can vouch for this because you and I texted about this yesterday. As bad as it was yesterday when the Steelers were there to play the Rams, how bad do you think it's going to be? And that's probably the height, other than maybe the 49ers. How bad do you think it's going to be Sunday night when the Bears play in the Chargers, when they're by far the second team in that stadium?
On Sunday night football.
There'll be so many Bears fans in there.
You know what Bears fans believe for this game for Sunday? This is a free trip for them.
Yeah.
They believe this is a winnable game for them, which it probably is because of Brendan Staley alone. They can go to Los Angeles, I nearly said San Diego, and basically write their own check. They basically can take over a stadium, and the only team that takes over that stadium, SoFi Stadium, more than what I heard with the Steelers yesterday is the team you mentioned, the San Francisco 49ers.
Yep.
And the 49ers have traveled well the past two.
Well, I'll throw another one. The Cowboys are the same way. Whenever they're the same way. When they play the Chargers when they put the Chargers there last month, it was basically the same.
But mostly these are fraudulent Cowboy fans.
Oh, of course they are. Oh,
You and I both know that.
How many hardcore Cowboys fans do you really know?
One of them who's my best friend, which is Victor. Other than that, I can't tell you.
They're not many.
No, they're not.
They're bandwagon fans.
I take that back. Ben Sudderth is a real Cowboy fan. Ivan Dawkins is a real Cowboy fan. Chris Dietz, Victor Locke. Those are the only 4 real critical Cowboy fans that I know. That's it. I don't know anybody else that's a real Cowboy fan.
I think a lot of them just wear the apparel and put the stuff on their cars and everything else just for flash.
And that's all they do it for. Is just for flash. That's all they do it for.
But aren't you? I mean, I understand Crocky's a gazillionaire, the owner of the Rams. I understand that. But whether it be he or the Spanish family for the Chargers, aren't you embarrassed by this every single week when they're playing at home?
No.
It doesn't matter who they play. It's a road game every single week.
I'll tell you why they're not embarrassed. And Cole said it in the chat. Ka-ching.
Oh yeah, but
that's why Stan.
You have 0 home field advantage.
None. And had it not been for a dropped interception 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game and a couple of other plays that didn't go to the 49ers' way, who do you think would have played and won Super Bowl 56?
Yeah.
A team that should not have been there in the first place. Let's just be totally honest. 2 games, SoFi Stadium. I'm going back 2 years, folks. 2 games, SoFi Stadium. All right. Week 18 in the NFC Championship game. Who had the bigger crowd?
Of course.
This is a backwards. Thank you, Cole, for this. This is a backwards setup that you're paying rent to a team that
it boggles my mind.
That doesn't want you.
The same thing goes for the Jets. Why are they not
Thank
playing?
you. Why are you not playing? I miss the Jets playing at Shea Stadium, but that was a baseball stadium that was, well, it didn't crumble until like some 20 years later, but they called it home.
Well, there's plenty of land over there in Queens. Build a stadium in Queens.
There's plenty of land to be had for the Jets to build their own stadium. Why are you renting out MetLife Stadium for a game?
When it's called, well, I know it's not called that anymore, but it's basically
Giant Stadium.
It's still basically Giant Stadium.
It's basically Giants. Absolutely correct. It's still basically Giant
Why do
Stadium.
you want to be that? Why do you want to be that?
Why do you still want to be the second team?
Well, that goes with the Clippers too. They are at least leaving. They're at least leaving what's used to be Staples, whatever they call it these days. But they should have never left San Diego either. The Clippers should be in San Diego.
The Clippers and the Chargers should both be in San Diego right now.
Well, actually, if people know their history, the Clippers were originally in Buffalo.
Yep, they were the Buffalo Braves.
That's correct.
I hate you, Cole Johnson. But he's right. But the Clippers were the Buffalo Braves. God bless you, Bob McAdoo. And no one gives Bob McAdoo any credit either.
They will always be the second team in LA. Always.
Yep. And they're not going to play.
I don't care how sorry the Lakers might be.
Mm-hmm.
They will always be the second favorite team in LA.
And they're not playing at the old Forum. They're having an arena built for them.
I think it's pretty close to where SoFi is.
Yeah, it is. It's in Inglewood. But listen, while we're talking basketball, let's look at the Clippers because someone made a
soap opera that is Kawhi Leonard and playoff P.
Dear God, I love you for that. You're right.
And they've not won anything.
They've not won a doggone thing. And people, you're going to love me for this. People actually picking the Clippers to do something this year.
Well, if you think it's bad now, if he gets his wish, which I'm sure he will, like every other NBA player, if Harden gets traded to the Clippers, how much of a soap opera do you think that's going to be?
It's a soap opera now that they're even entertaining the doggone thing.
Yeah.
It's a soap opera now that they're even entertaining the thought of James Sharman Harden joining the Clippers. How, not just a soap opera, how much of a miniseries would that be? Forget a soap opera. At least you somewhat have a finite edition with a soap opera, okay? At least sometimes drama calms down in a soap opera. In a miniseries, it's all hype and it's heightened with each night that it's on. You get this miniseries for 82 games.
Well, if you look at his history, look how he's torn down every single team he's played for.
Oh, gosh. First the Thunder, then the Rockets, then the Nets, and now he's doing it to Philadelphia. And, you know, I talked about this with Jody earlier when she saw a post about James Harden being the missing piece for the Clippers. She showed it to me, laughed, and then she said, wasn't there a year where he averaged almost 37 a game? And I said, yeah. And she looked me in the eye. This is my wife, who is not a basketball fan, ... anymore, and said, how many threes did he take that year?
Oh, yeah.
When Jody asked me that question, I just gave her a hug. And I said, you get it. She looked at me. She says, honey, I've always gotten it since Reggie Miller left.
Well, look how he dominates the ball when he's on the court. As long as he's got the ball, he's going to dribble until the cows come home.
And flops all over the place.
Oh, yes.
And flops all over the place.
That is for sure.
And now, supposedly, they have this new flop rule, which no one's going to follow. No one's going to follow that damn rule about flopping because LeBron's still in the league.
Oh, we get to see the brick tomorrow night on the first night of the NBA.
I hope the Denver Nuggets beat the daylights out of them.
Aren't you excited about the NBA in October?
Hell no.
Aren't you excited about college basketball starting in 2 weeks in early November? When it drags on until April?
Dear God. I'll repeat a suggestion that you made to me while I was in North Carolina. Can we just start college basketball in January?
Well, I like the way it used to be, except for a few tournaments like the preseason NIT.
Right.
Everybody started the week of Thanksgiving. And now everybody's playing the first week of November.
Why?
I have no problem playing Thanksgiving week. It's a great week to start. But you're competing against the NFL, college football, even high school for that matter for a lot of schools.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot win. It's proven over and over and over. You're not going to beat college football and NFL. You're not going to do it.
And now college football runs until basically the first full week of January. And I identified that week because
January 8th is the national championship.
National championship. And it's in Houston, I think, this year.
I believe it is, yes.
National championship is in Houston. The NCAA men's national championship is in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'll be damned if I don't get there this year. I mean,
November 5th, I believe November 5th is the opening night for college basketball.
Oh, dear. Can we just delay it to Thanksgiving?
That's what it should be.
The week of Thanksgiving. I don't know
when
the change happened
to start.
Yep, I don't know when the change happened, but the week of Thanksgiving, in particular, the weekend following Thanksgiving, is when college basketball just shot into high gear.
Mm-hmm.
It just shot into high gear. Now you have the NBA starting before Halloween, and the NBA never did that unless it's like a real marquee matchup, because the only marquee matchup that I remember,
Adam Silver wanted to start earlier because he wanted to give the players a week off for the All-Star break. And he didn't want the season dragging on to almost July. Well, it still almost drags on to July.
Yeah, it does. And then you got the Summer League, which got highlighted. I don't know how.
What are they going to do? What are they going to do next year for the Olympics are in Paris, and it sounds like everybody wants to play. What are you going to do next year?
Do we? All right. There are some bronze sexuals that are going to be angry with me, but I really don't care. Why do we care about a bunch of past their prime NBA players going to play in Paris for the Olympics?
You know why they want to play. This is all about endorsements.
No lie.
And if you think it's bad next year for Paris, wait
it's
till 28 when it comes to LA.
When it comes to Los Angeles, oh dear. 2028 when it comes back to Los Angeles. Oh,
now it's more than likely that LeBron will not be playing then, but still, all these other guys will be playing.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Jay Spivey joining us here as he does every Monday. I thank you very much, my friend. I love you. We'll do it again next week. Thanks, man.
Sounds good. Have a great week. Thank you.
Gotta go. Have a great day. God bless. And I gotta remove this. Have a great day. God bless. Remember to make your next move your best move. And always remember, if your dreams don't scare you, they are simply not big enough. Dream big, do bigger. We hope y'all are too. We're out of here. See y'all tomorrow. I love you.